Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first edition of the EGT Podcast. I'm your host, Alain Leon, and my friend, Patrick Fournier.
Hi, Alan. Thanks for having me on this very first podcast for EGT.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's going to be awesome. So, if you guys like at the end of the video, you can go and like the video. And if you are on YouTube, you can subscribe. So that way you'll receive all the notifications saying that, we have a new podcast or a new race. And well, it's time to talk about the races. Season 5 is coming up. What do you think?
Well, actually, it's going to be interesting season. If I'm looking at all the registration we had already 110 drivers listed
Yeah.
that want to do their qualification, and a lot of brand new names that came in that never raced with us before, and
Yeah.
especially 3 new drivers that popped into the top 12.
Yeah.
So for the old guys, let's just call them that. The old guys have been racing with us for the last 4 years. Well, they better get ready because they're gonna have some new drivers hot on their asses.
Yeah, we've been mainly a French Canadian league, and the popularity has been growing. And we've decided to open, the league, the series, to more American or English-speaking communities. So we're expecting a lot of drivers to come in, but so far we have a really, really fast couple of drivers that came in.
Oh, to say fast, none the least, because just first 35 drivers are within 1.2 seconds of each other. So just imagine on a racetrack with 40 drivers at the same time, almost all in the same second, makes for great racing.
Yeah. And talking about the championship as well, we have some interesting choices for this season as well.
Yeah, that's what's nice actually, because year after year we never come back with always the same tracks. And this year actually tracks that been chosen for the competition of 8 races. It's a nice variety of fast tracks and slower tracks and short tracks as well.
Yeah,
So it's going to be challenging for every drivers and every car actually.
yeah. And what a way to start! We're gonna start with Bathurst, so
Uh,
that's gonna be quite something.
Kind of happy not doing that one.
We'll see. We have a couple of drivers that are really happy that it's gonna be that one though,
Yeah, I know.
and now the thing we don't know is if whether there's gonna be rain. So that's gonna be interesting as well.
Yeah, since we're doing a different kind of, I was gonna say, setup for temperatures and stuff, we know in advance what kind of weather we're gonna have.
Yeah.
Compared to last year, it was the weather on the specific day we were racing, so we never knew what we're gonna have. It was like a box of chocolates. Let's just say we don't know what you're gonna get. But
Yeah.
this year, people will have a better time, more time actually, to prepare their cars and setups for that specific race if it's raining or not.
And another interesting thing is we're expecting to have a new DLC coming out this winter, beginning of spring. We might have a GT America Championship DLC coming out.
Can't
So the
wait.
last race of the season, the series decided to leave it open. So there is a track that was chosen, but if it comes out in time, we're gonna allow drivers to go have a vote and choose a new track that nobody has raced on. So
Pretty sure they would vote for the new DLC. Just having a new track, a new in the pack, instead of having just 20 tracks. Then if we have 24, of course they'll want to go and try the new ones.
yeah.
I would.
Um, who wouldn't? Yeah. So we had our ranking week. We had drivers do 30-minute stint, and during those 30 minutes, we take 10 laps, and we do a time that tells us, how fast they really are. It's just not a hot lap, but to have some consistency and everything. And we have some pretty interesting times as well.
Yeah, because it makes it easier if we take like an average on 11 laps to know the pace of each driver, not just because we got a lot of guys that like to do hot lapping. It's easy. It's really fast, but when it comes time to do longer races, because we do an hour long race, pace comes into play big time, and your
Yeah,
consistency helps big time. So to make sure that these guys are, well, I was going to say, in the right category, they're not like overranked or underranked. It's
yeah,
easier for us to make them do 30-minute stints to qualify. Then we can set it up easier like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, with the new drivers that we were talking about, is there anyone that comes up to mind that it's surprising you that it's gonna be in the
Well,
championship?
it's always surprising when you see new names. First, because we never seen them, we haven't driven with them before,
Yeah,
we never even practiced or had fun races with them. So there's a few that stand out. Like I could say, like Riley Murdoch, and we got Simon Salomon. That those two guys, they literally broke the top 10 without ever driving with us before. So
yeah,
there would be a force to reckon with probably. And they got fast cars as well. One's driving a Porsche, the other one's driving the McLaren. So both cars are kind of pretty consistent. So we'll see.
yeah, 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 yeah. And Pat, what are your predictions for this season? Who do you think is gonna come up on top? I mean, we have obviously we have Eric Bourdois, who is the champion for the season, and he did a really awesome job, especially driving the Porsche. And he was closely followed by you.
Yeah, I know. The Eric always beat me. He's the number one Porsche driver. Let's see if it can retain that title because, like I said, Salomon
Yeah,
took the Porsche and was a bit faster in qualifying. I am not doing any races this year due to an
yeah,
injury, so I figured I might as well take it slow. But there's a lot of guys. If you look at last year's champion and a few other guys like Jonathan Boivin, who we call our own little alien in our
yeah, yeah,
community, that guy is like outstanding in everything he does. So he's a force to reckon with as well. But I could tell you that probably all 21 pro drivers have a chance for a podium at every race.
yeah.
So we cannot say one's going to stand out more than the other. They're all equally dangerous in their own way. It always depends. A lot of stuff happens during a race. So we'll see again what's going to happen. It's a toss of the dice every race.
Yeah, definitely. And then we have guys like Marc-Antoine Landry, who, he was up there last season as well, and he was with the GTR, which is not exactly the fastest car.
One of the
And
worst
this year
cars.
he switched. He's going with the Lamborghini, which is not an easier car either, but
Yeah.
it's a little bit faster though. So I'm expecting a lot from him actually.
Well, he likes to torture himself with the choice of cars he does. He's chosen a car that is fast, yes, but hard to drive. There's a lot of Bentleys as well. Those front engine cars, they're kind of good turning corners. That Porsche rear engine again. But since we had the new 1.8 patch, a few cars have been a
Yeah.
little more, I was going to say, tougher to adjust, little things to adjust to make sure
Yeah,
you're
well,
fast like you used to be.
we're still learning actually. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
it takes some time to get to grips with the new patch. So we'll see how that
But
goes.
it balances out for everybody though, because we're all living through the same upgrade. So everybody has to start brand new.
Yeah, and we recently get a nerf. The BMW was nerfed a little bit, so that's gonna be interesting to see because Moisan, Alexis Moisan, who classified third, he's really fast. He's a really fast guy. Uh, we'll see how he does with the BMW during the races.
I know a few guys tried it already today because the upgrade came out today, and their reaction is disappointment. Let's just say that they've seen a big difference. They're losing almost 0.5 per lap. So let's see, because within the race, let's just say in 2 weeks, these guys will have perfected their art anyway. So they might get back to exactly where they were.
So, who's your pick for this year's championship?
Well, I would say it's hard to tell Jonathan he's not going to be on the first march of the podium. So I would say Jonathan Boivin is one of the best guys you can see up there.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure, he's top three for sure.
yeah. Then
At the very
there's
least.
always yeah, there's always a few that haven't been that consistent within races last year. So if they can get that under control and control emotions and everything, so they
Yeah,
have a good
stress.
chance. Yeah, exactly. I'm talking mostly about Kevin Racine.
Yeah.
That guy has the talent. He has the speed, but has a
But
tendency
he
of
works
making a
hard.
little mistakes. Yeah, I know he works hard. He's in my team, and we work like crazy. We,
Yeah,
we put in probably 30 to 40 hours a week just
yeah.
practicing.
Oh, I know, I know.
So
And
I
yeah,
would say my top three. Uh, there's David Belanger, which is one of our coaches actually, and he's always a force to reckon with. We can never leave him behind because you think he's not going to be fast, and he just pops with the pole position without knowing it. So it's hard to say because there's a lot of good drivers. So I would put probably, like I said, Jonathan, David, Alexis Moisan, and Riley Murdoch. He seems
yep,
fast, so he's gonna have a lot to prove
yep, yep,
because we
yep.
don't know what kind of driver he is. But we'll see when the first race starts, when the first green flag is dropped.
Yeah, we'll see. So we'll see how that goes. And if you guys like this podcast, we'll might make another one if you guys like it. But to do that, you have to subscribe, and then we'll know that you really, really like that.
It's gonna
So
be the first of many.
yeah, I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so. So next time you're gonna be seeing this driver's race, it's gonna be in little less than 2 weeks. So we're gonna see them on the 29th. It's gonna be the start of an awesome season.
Well, since they just found out which track they're going to be racing on for the entire season, these guys are probably already, since they knew at 5 o'clock this afternoon,
They've been
probably
practicing
practice.
already.
Yeah, practicing already the first track, and they're not going to stop until the Friday, probably an hour before, and they're still going to be practicing all the way up to that race actually.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're going to put in a lot of hours. It's a lot of time. It's exhaustive. And once they're going to be done with that track, if people don't know, Bathurst Mount Panorama is quite the scenery, quite the track. And once you're done with an hour race, you're probably going to be sweating your balls out.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So yeah, Patrick. Another thing we haven't talked about is how the league started, how the series started, how EGT Canada was created.
Actually, weren't you there when it all started?
Yeah, I was one of the first ones actually. Yeah, it all started because you know the pandemic hit, and I was getting ready all my rig, my steering, and everything, and I wanted to race with people from that I knew in some way, but I didn't know anyone. So on Facebook, we found a group, and there was this guy Julien who was posting things about this series and everything, and that's how it all started. But the first race of the season, it was only 7 guys, uh, and
Could you
now we have
imagine?
it's
Exactly. You started out with seven, and now we got over 115 drivers lined
yeah,
up 2 years
it's
later.
yeah, not even 2 years. It's gonna be 2 years in a few months. So
Yeah, there
yeah,
we
it's,
go.
it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
From something that's starting just wanting to race with friends, and now it's literally a big community, which I can call actually my second family.
yeah, definitely. It's a really nice community. I couldn't agree more. So, Patrick, what do you think about the way the series is created with the two categories on Friday? We have the pro and we have the pro am as well.
Yep. Well, these guys actually, we have 44 drivers split in two categories. So you get 21 that are pros. These are the fastest guys. Some of them have been around for a while, and a few new ones as well. Even in Pro Am, we get a lot of few new ones that came in, and all of them, either from the 44th place to the first guy, they all have a chance to go up there and win those races. They're all equally fast. Let's just say
Yeah.
that.
And they have their own championship as well. So
Yep.
they are still champions. It's just that they're racing on the same track as the pros.
Yeah, it's the fun part because they don't have, let's just say they're not as fast as the first 12 guys. So they would never have a chance to win anything. So by having two classes in the same race, so there's two championships every race. So these guys can fight with one another, even go and get points from the higher
Yeah.
class and move up in the rankings as well. So it's always challenging wherever you're at. You can be 20th in your own league and still finish in the points at the end of the year because you did well in your own category.
Yeah, and it's not that they're not fast. I mean, they are really fast guys, but it's always that little thing, working on the setup. And you got guys like Kevin who do like 30, 40, 50 hours a week to train and get all those little things right. It's kind of what makes the difference as well.
Yeah, and you get guys that started last year that were in the AM class that have now classified as pros.
Yeah,
So they put in a lot of hours in their craft to get better at this. So and it shows. And you see that the guys that are going to put in more hours are going to perform better. That's normal. It's
yeah.
like
It's
anything.
work hard, play hard, and win
Exactly.
hard.
Yeah, results will follow. So if you only practice an hour a day or an hour a week, then you're going to have the results coming exactly according to what you're doing. So the more time you put, it is time consuming, but it's very rewarding. I can tell you by finishing myself on a few podiums last year, the emotions and the adrenaline is very
Yeah,
real.
the stress, and that's the difference too. Pro am and pro, it's how you handle the stress.
Exactly. Because once you know that all these guys will not make any kind of mistakes, especially the top 20 drivers, they don't really do mistakes within an hour race. And so the pressure is always on. One
Yeah,
mistake, actually just a little bit off track, can make can change the race
yeah,
totally
completely.
just because four guys can pass you that are in the same second as you behind.
Yeah,
So you got to concentrate. Everything is, it's a lot mental and physical. People think it's a game. I'm sorry, this is not.
yeah. I
It,
mean,
it
you're not pulling the G forces as a real car, but all the mental stress, it's there.
oh yeah, for
It's
sure.
and
The emotions
everything.
at the end of the
Yeah,
race too. Okay, when you finish on the podium, and I finished second. I can tell you right now, I yelled like crazy when I was second. It's an emotional response, adrenaline. It takes time. You finish a race, an hour race. You were sitting down at the rig for 3 hours, and once it's over, the pressure stops, and then you can relax a bit. But you're still hyped for 3 hours because I got to watch the feed of the race that we just did.
yeah,
So it's nice because we have everything televised as well. So we can see we got commentators that are describing everything as we go. It's a really nice community, and we get replays. We got you that's working in the behind the scenes doing all of this, and now this year I'm going to be acting as steward as well. So these guys are going to have to watch themselves because they can have penalties right now.
yeah. Yeah, they won't be allowed to do that little mistake that you punt somebody off. Well, you know, it's gonna
No
cost.
more dive bombs. Let's just say that.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing too is then you have to explain to your wife why were you screaming when you finished second place. But that's a whole other story, though. We'll
Yeah,
get into that in another podcast, I think.
if you start talking about your wives, that's a different ball game because it takes a lot of time, and then you gotta give time back to them because otherwise you're gonna get yelled at. So it's a balance. It's a balance in everything.
Yeah, yeah. So well, again, thank you, Pat, for
My pleasure.
this first podcast, and hopefully we'll see each other again. And if people like it, they'll let us know. So with that, we're gonna leave you for this evening, and hopefully we will see you on the 29th as well. Have a good night, guys.
Thanks. See ya.